Good morning. Good morning. That music got me jumping. Yeah, that's the way to get your heart going, right? We are so happy to have you here this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Dr. Saray Eaton. I am happy and blessed to have you all with us this morning. Um, we are going to learn some critical information today about CPR and hopefully a way to save a life. Okay. The Greater Lansing Area Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women Incorporated, which is a mouthful, are happy to partner with the Lansing Area Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated to bring you this event. Again, we are happy to have you. And we would first like to introduce the president of the Greater Lansing Area Club, Miss Renee Freeman.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Sister Saray. I appreciate that. You know, ladies, there is power. As women, we are very powerful. So the Greater Lansing Area Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs Incorporated and the partners of Think Heart, Think Health, The Beat Goes On, welcomes you to this morning program. We are proud to come together as advocates for women's heart and health, the leading cause of death in Michigan. This month, more than any other, women are coming together wearing red, raising our powerful voices to bring awareness and education about women like you and me so that we can live long and healthier lives. Special shout out to GLAC Think Heart, Think Health co-chairs Saray and Rashane and their committee members Betty, Pam, Alicia, Linda, and Sarah, as well as the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Lansing Chapter Healthy Lifestyles Committee, AARP, the American Heart Association, and our guest presenter, Dr. Catherine Y. Brown, founder of Learn CPR America. As women, we are powerful and our voices can make a difference. So thank you for tuning in and enjoy the virtual heart health presentation.
Thank you, President Freeman, for that gracious introduction. And our next speaker will actually be our MC, who is the co-chair of this event, Ms. Rashane Lonzo. Thank you.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, sisters. It is so awesome to see you all this sunny Saturday morning. And we are going to learn a lot of valuable information that we can share with our loved ones. And at this time, I would like to turn our attention to our first video of Jocko Sims, and he's going to show us and demonstrate some hands-only CPR.
Hey everyone, I'm Jocko Sims. You might know me as Dr. Reynolds on the show New Amsterdam. You know, I've learned quite a bit playing a doctor. For example, I've learned that when someone is having a cardiac arrest, every minute counts, and survival depends on immediately receiving CPR. Did you know that 70% of cardiac arrests happen in homes? And with many of us spending more and more time at home these days, it's all the more important to know what to do in a cardiac emergency. Let me show you a technique that I learned from the American Heart Association. It's called hands-only CPR. It involves 2 easy steps that can save the life of someone you love. Here's how it goes. Hey guys. So if you see a teen or an adult collapsed and unresponsive, first call 911 or ask someone to. Second, you want to push hard and fast in the center of the chest. Now, you might be asking how hard and how fast. That's a good question. You want to go 2 inches deep and about as fast as an upbeat song like Staying Alive by the Bee Gees or Crazy in Love by Beyonce. Here we go. Now the key is to keep your arms straight. You don't want to go bending your elbows like that, right? Here we go. Let's run through that one more time. If you see a teen or an adult collapsed and unresponsive, what's the first thing you do? That's right, you call 911. Second, you push hard and fast in the middle of the chest, just like I showed you. Thank you, American Heart Association and Children's Hospital Los Angeles, for collaborating to bring this important message to the public. Remember, you could be the difference for someone you love.
Okay, so I know it was probably a little challenging trying to focus on the skills because Jocko Sims was so super attractive in his little demonstration. So that's why our woman of the hour, Dr. Brown, is going to ease us a little bit with some animation so that we can stay a little bit more focused, right? With that, Dr. Karen Y. Brown is a highly sought after international speaker and consultant. She's a wife, she's a mother of 4, and she's the founder of Learn CPR. She teaches CPR nationally and internationally, and she's committed to transforming lives. She's known as the CPR lady, and she's known for training over 300,000 people for free. Now, Dr. Catherine explains, your zip code should not determine whether you live or die. Everyone should know CPR. She has appeared in print, radio, television, and on Forbes.com and on TEDx stage, increasing awareness of CPR. She's an expert in curriculum development, and she spearheaded the Dr. Catherine Y. Leadership Academy. And the whole goal is to expose female middle school, high school, and college students to global leadership and education on pulmonary hypertension. Now, it was her mother, a trauma nurse of 40 years and a CPR instructor, who started her as a volunteer with the American Heart Association at the age of 16. And Dr. Catherine is still serving the American Heart Association 32 years later, now as a national CPR spokesperson. Dr. Catherine has been called upon to teach CPR for conferences including the Links, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the GLAC, Jack and Jill of America, their regional conferences and national webinars, and for Fortune 500 corporations. She's a published author of her own books, and she has co-authored over 6 peer-reviewed publications, including the Journal of Healthcare for the Poor and Underserved. In 2021, she was named a Platinum Fellow, the highest designation given by the Mayo Clinic Social Media Network. In 2021, she was also made the Nashville Athena history as the first person to receive both the Athena Young Professional Award in 2015 and the prestigious Athena Leadership Award in 2021. Let's give 2 snaps a virtual welcome to our very own Dr. Catherine Y. Brown.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction and welcome. Can I just take you everywhere with me? Because it sounds amazing when you share it. Let me say how excited I am to be here today with each of you to share an important message. Again, I am Dr. Catherine Y. Brown, founder of Learn CPR America. And my friend Jocko gave you a teaser, but I'm here today to teach you how to perform hands-only CPR. Now, before we get started, I want to know a little bit about each of you. Can you put your name and organization in the chat box and tell me where you're from? Because I want to know who's on today. So we'll take a few quick seconds to do that. So that chat should be lighting up right now. Let's see who's here.
His family is informed that she suffered severe head trauma.
Okay, Lansing. Okay. I thought I saw Ohio earlier as well. I love it. I love it. Okay, wonderful, exciting. Well, a little bit about me. I am originally from the South Side of Chicago, where I opened up the first freestanding CPR company. We were on East 87th Street. And my journey started because you know how you look at the statistics. So I opened up the CPR company in a zip code where people were least likely to receive CPR. So you've heard this concept. If you build it, they will come. Yeah, you've heard that? I built it and they didn't come. So I said to myself, failure is not an option. And I started a door knocking campaign. So I had my children, I put them in scrubs, I took my CPR mannequin, and I started knocking on people's doors in this community. Hey, it's Dr. Catherine. If someone goes into cardiac arrest, do you know what to do? They were in many cases thinking she's crazy. And I'd say, no, I'm not. Just come outside. Let me teach you. Well, after a while, it caught on. So I would go to basketball courts and guys would be playing basketball. I'd take my mannequin and I'd throw it out in the middle of their game. And I'd say, what's up? If someone went into cardiac arrest, would you know what to do? I started going to housing projects. If you were in the ladies' room and we were washing our hands and I looked over and you made eye contact, I would say, hey, do you know what to do? I got a mannequin in my car. And so after a while of doing this, I became known as the CPR lady, and I've trained again over 300,000 people for free. I even do campaigns on the corner where I actually have a sign that I hold up and it says, honk if you know CPR, and if you don't, pull over and I will teach you. And I teach people on the side of the road. Now you might be saying all of these non-traditional places, why do you do that? Because cardiac arrest does not knock on our door and say, I'm going to show up at 3 p.m. today. It's in all of these unexpected locations that I've popped up in, from parks to biker bars to housing projects. We have to take this skill into our communities because the statistics show that lives are being lost. Fun fact, you learned that I was a mother of 4. My children now are ages 28, 21, 20, and 13. And in most instances, I really feel like I don't look a day over 16. But when she read my bio, I said, uh-oh, she calculated the years on me, so they know how old I am. I'm in trouble. But I now enjoy life in Nashville, Tennessee. And this is what I love to do. So when I say a true heartfelt thank you for being here today, we need this message. We need it in our community because lives are being lost. And in many instances, the life that you save is someone that you love. I had to do CPR twice on my own mother. The first time she made it, and the second time she didn't. But that was that moment when she woke up. I woke up and I knew she wasn't there. I knew she was gone, but I had to do what I was trained to do, because it's not for us to make the judgment call in the field, right? It's for us to do what we can for as long as we can until help arrives. So I say that to say, what I want you to do today is leave with the confidence and the competence to know that your actions can help save a life. And it's not for us to determine what happens on the other side. It's just for us to do what we can. So as we get started, let's test your CPR knowledge. Do you have those fingers ready? Because I am going in the chat box with you. Question number 1. About how many cardiac arrests happen outside of a hospital each year? A, 175,000, B, 250,000, C, 350,000, or D, 425,000. Put your letter in the chat box about how many cardiac arrests happen outside of a hospital each year. A, 175,000, B, 250,000, C, 350,000, or D, 425,000. All right, I see them coming in. If you selected C, you are correct. We will talk about exactly what a cardiac arrest is in a minute, but first, one more question. What percentage of cardiac arrest happen at home? A, 25%, B, 40%, C, 55%, or D, 70%. So what percentage of cardiac arrest happen at home? Let's get this chat box. A, 25%, B, 40%, C, 55%, or D, 70%. I love it. You all are on fire today. All right. If you answered D, you are absolutely correct. Here's the reality. Some of us go our whole lives without ever encountering an emergency situation. So most of us never think about it and we don't prepare. But that's okay, because that's why we're here today. I'm going to show you everything that you need to know to help a teenager or an adult who is in need of hands-only CPR. So we've heard about these terms, cardiac arrest and heart attack, right? Well, often we use them interchangeably as if they're synonyms, but they're not the same. Can somebody put in the chat, they are not the same? I need you to hear that from me today. They are not the same. I need somebody helping me in the chat. So let's talk about it. Cardiac arrest actually occurs when the heart malfunctions and stops beating unexpectedly. It's triggered by an electrical malfunction in the heart that causes an irregular heartbeat, which is also called an arrhythmia. When the heart stops beating or pumping, it cannot pump blood to the brain, lungs, or other organs. So remember that statistic I told you? Over 350,000 Americans suffer out of hospital cardiac arrest every year, and about 90% die, because that statistic just went up. About 90% die. Now let's look at statistics, right? That number goes higher if you're a woman and if you're a woman of color. So I just shared with you over 350,000 Americans are going to suffer these out-of-hospital cardiac arrests, and about 90% are going to die. That's an alarming statistic. That's why you being here today, it matters. So that was cardiac arrest. I'm going to go to a heart attack. A heart attack occurs when blood flow to the heart is blocked. A blocked artery prevents oxygen-rich blood from reaching a section of the heart. If the blocked artery is not reopened quickly, part of the heart can die. All right, so cardiac arrest is an electrical problem, and a heart attack is a circulation problem. That was a lot of information. So let's pause. Before we move on, what are those symptoms of a heart attack, and what's the difference? So cardiac arrest, is it electrical or circulation? Tell me, cardiac arrest, what is it? All right, in the chat, is it electrical? Great. And a heart attack is what type of problem? Think of it like backed up plumbing. It's circulation. Absolutely. And that's so important because we use these terms, but we really have to know what the terms mean. Now, if you ever need to perform hands-only CPR, it will most likely be on someone you love, a family member, a friend, a sorority member, an organization member, a church member. Since we just learned that 70% of cardiac arrest happen in the home, it's even more likely that you'll have to use hands-only CPR in the comfort of your home. Hands-only CPR, especially if performed immediately, can double or even triple a cardiac arrest victim's chance of survival. So if someone is in cardiac arrest, trying to help is the best option. In fact, I would challenge you to say that it's the only option, right? We don't want you in a situation where you're just standing there screaming and shouting, "Someone help my loved one." You are the person to help your loved one. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the steps of CPR twice. So you've seen it once. I'm going to give it to you 2 more times to make sure that you are comfortable with these steps to help save a life. Now, let's say we just arrived at the scene and an adult is laying on the ground. What is the first thing you need to do? You're going to tap the person and you're going to say, hey, are you okay? They might be gasping for air, or maybe they're unable to respond or unconscious. In that instance, we have to get help. To get help, what number do we need to dial? What is that number? Put it in the chat for me. Put it in the chat. Who we gonna call? And it's not Ghostbusters. It's 911. Okay? So you're gonna say, hey, you, call 911 if it's someone else, or you are going to do that. Now, when performing CPR, the rate of compressions that I want you to do is, you thought I was going to tell you. It wouldn't be fair unless I gave you another quiz. Are you ready? Let's do it. Now, if you've gotten 2 right, if you get this one right, you just let them know, and I'm sending you an Amazon gift card because I'm already impressed. All right. When performing CPR, what is the rate of compressions you should do per minute? A, 60 to 70, B, 80 to 100, C, 100 to 120, or D, 130 to 150. What's the rate of compressions? How fast are we pushing? Ooh, that chat is lighting up for the gift card. All right, if you selected C, 100 to 120, you are correct. Next question. If you are called on to give CPR in an emergency, you will most likely be trying to save the life of someone you love, a child, a spouse, a parent, or a friend. Is that true or is that false? Is that true or is that false? Yes. This is the best group ever. Listen, this is where I need to be at. All right. So behind me, I have a friend, and I'm going to introduce you to my friend right now. Okay. So drum roll. You didn't know someone was behind me, did you? And this is my friend. Now, my friend has a name, and his name is Saul. S-A-L. Can you guess what Saul means? S-A-L. It's a funny acronym.
Save a life.
Yes! Wait a minute. I got to pull my pom-pom out early for that. Y'all did that! Yes! Saul for save a life. Yes. Thank you. Oh, nobody gets that. And I usually have this pom-pom to the end. Okay. Saul, S-A-L, for save a life. So we talked about that song, Staying Alive. Some people like Baby Shark. I like Staying Alive because disco saves lives. All right, here we go. Hey, are you okay? Now, they're not breathing or responding. I don't see any signs of life. What is the first thing that I need to do? I need to do what? Call what number? Yes, I need to dial 911, and then I'm gonna push hard and fast where? In the center of the, where am I pushing? Yes, the center of the chest. How fast am I pushing? I told you the answer, how fast? 100 to what number? Yes, 100 to 120. Now, when I push in the center of the chest, am I gonna have my arms like this? No. Am I gonna do this? No. I need to do my hands this way. So all around the virtual room, I want you to hold your hands out right now. I can see you. Hold those hands out. Interlock those fingers. They're gonna go in the center of the chest. You see how my arms are straight? This is what we're gonna do. And we're pushing 2 inches deep. So I'm gonna give you a little music so you can see it. All right, here we go. So we saw them, they're not responding. I said, hey, I'm calling 911, or I told somebody, hey, you, call 911. Now, if I'm calling for help, I need to make sure they know that I'm talking to them. So in this room, I might say, hey, you with the red shirt, call 911. Now, I think depending on which organization, I might need to say crimson shirt, but I don't know. Crimson, red, tomato, tomato. I don't know. Here we go. So we got our arms locked and we're pushing. Push, push, push. Push, 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 push. It sounds like childbirth, but it's just CPR, ladies. Push, 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 push. And it's just that simple, all right? So let's rewind it. I see a teenager or an adult suddenly collapse. They're not breathing, they're not responding. Tell me in that chat box, what do I need to do first? Oh, I love it. I need to call 911. Then they're on their way. What do I have the power in my hands to do? I need to push hard and fast. Where? Tell me where I'm pushing. In the center of the chest. How many inches deep? Yes. How fast am I pushing? Give me my range. Yes. And here we go. Push, 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 push. There we go. My arms are not bowed. My arms are locked. Push, 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 push. I do not stop pushing until help arrives, okay? Unless they start to show some signs of life. All right? Are we learning something today? Give me some yeses in the chat if we're learning something. Yes. All right. So now we're going to go back to a little bit more information, and then we're going to take some questions. But what I want you to know today is that you can save a life. And we have to equip and empower ourselves to do what needs to be done because it's the right thing to do. So I don't want you to ever be in a situation where you're calling for someone else to save your loved one's life. I want you to know that how many steps? 2. How many steps? 2. 2 simple steps can help save a life. And those steps are dialing 911 and pushing hard and fast in the center of the chest. All right? Let's do a little bit more learning, ladies. I'll leave the music on while Saul and I come around because I feel like you all are enjoying it just as much as me. All right. Are you having a good time, Saul? Yeah, Saul said Saul is having a good time too. Are we doing good? Yeah? Now, if Saul talks back, y'all, we're in big trouble. All right. I'm going to push that one off. So here is what I want you all to know, that cardiac arrest is when that person's heart suddenly stops beating. Again, over 350,000 Americans are going to suffer an out of hospital cardiac arrest every year. And out of that, 70% are going to happen in the home. The most alarming statistic is only about 1 in 10 are going to survive. So we just learned that hands-only CPR can double or even triple that cardiac arrest victim's chance of survival. And so that's why bringing this training to you today, even virtually, is arming each of you here with the life-saving skills of CPR. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what about our children? 75% of all fatalities that occur during youth sports are cardiovascular related. I don't know about you, but that's an alarming number, that 75% of all fatalities, listen to what I'm saying, fatalities in youth sports, cardiovascular related. Those are children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, who we are sending out on the field every week. And what happens if they suddenly go into cardiac arrest? So I want to review this with you again, because I need you to really get this inside of you, the steps. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to tap the person and you're going to shout something. What are you going to shout? Tell me what you're going to shout. Excellent. Hey, are you okay? Now, if you're alone, you have to dial what number yourself? What number do you have to dial if you're alone? Excellent. If you're around others, you're going to have them call. So make sure you specify who it is so that they know it's their responsibility. So give me an example of a sentence that you might say. Hey, you in the whatever color shirt, call 911. So tell me, give us that sentence. Hey, you in the whatever shirt. Okay, love it. Great. Then they're calling 911. What do you need to do? You are going to start hands-only CPR right away. Now, I gave you some steps, and so we're going to talk about those steps again. You're going to place the heel of one hand, and where's that heel going to go? In the center of the chest. Good. Now, I'm looking around this room, and I want to see the hand position. Everybody hold those hands out and show me that position. Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, if I didn't have Saul, I would take a picture because that looks amazing. Yes. Then you have your hands, they're in the center of the chest. You're going to push down hard and you're going to go straight down and you're going to go down. How many inches? I gave you that answer. How many inches? Yes, 2 inches deep. That chest is going to come up and down, up and down. Okay. Do you need to see it again or do you feel okay? Let me look in the chat. How are we feeling?
Dr. Brown, we do have a question. Do you want me to ask that question now?
Give me 1 second and I'm gonna go to the question in 1 second. So, okay. Yep, okay. So we've seen it a couple of times and all right, everybody's okay. Good, good, good. All right, so I have a couple of questions for you. Did you learn something about the importance of CPR? Amazing. And so what I want to do before we go to questions, because I will forget this and then I'll be like, I forgot. All right. We have to do a CPR selfie because if I was in person, we would be doing a CPR selfie. So Saul and I are going to like say cheese and you hold up those phones and commemorate this. And I want you to make sure that you do the hashtag think heart, think health. Okay, and tag all these amazing organizations who are here. So if you can hold those, I'm gonna pose, but if you can hold those cameras up and get a selfie, and the first person I see on social media who posts a selfie using one of my hashtags, I'm gonna let you know. I'll let them know so we can send you a gift card. All right, you got it. You got 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I love it. So again, I'm always putting CPR information out in the community. If someone can help me in the chat. So if you follow my hashtags, you'll see me, which is hashtag Learn CPR America. And hashtag Dr. Catherine Y. Brown. So it's Learn CPR America and then Dr. Catherine, Katherine Y. Brown. And please tag me at Dr. Catherine Y. Brown. And again, I'm going to look on there so I can do some gift card giveaways. I love gifts, you all. I love gifts because it just helps us to get the message out there. So it's bigger than the gift. It helps us get the message out there. So what I want to do is first say thank you all again for having me here today. And we're going to take some time to transition to our conversation and questions because I am here to serve you. Everything I do out of love And this is important. What we're doing today matters, and you being here today matters. So let's open up the floor for questions.
Thank you. Wow, Dr. Brown, that was awesome. And I am just overwhelmed with just that knowledge. Like it is amazing to see or know that we can, in my own hands, save a life, right? I think that we think that that's out of our realm, that somebody else can do that, or we can do the call 911. Thank you for just giving us that knowledge. I do have a question, and you can please continue to put your questions in the chat. I have gotten a couple questions directly. So one of the questions is, Dr. Brown, can you break people's ribs by doing CPR?
The answer to that question is yes. But if they need CPR, then if you don't do CPR, then that's more of a problem. They can survive the cracked rib. They cannot survive if their heart is not doing anything. And so a lot of times in our community, people hear that and they say, oh, I don't want to do anything, or I don't want to hurt the person. So here's a mathematical equation. You all help me in the chat box. Death plus death equals, what does it equal? Death. Yeah. All right, next mathematical equation. Death plus CPR, even with a cracked rib, equals a chance at survival. So death plus CPR equals a chance. All right, that's our second mathematical equation. And I think we have to say it in that way because we have to hear, if I do nothing, then nothing will happen. If I try something, then something may happen. And my community deserves a chance at survival. Our lives matter. You do know that African-American women are least likely to receive bystander CPR. So we have to be the voice of change in our own communities because we matter. Our lives matter. All right, back to the next questions. I love these questions. You all give me questions.
The next question, and please continue to put them in the chat or you can send them directly to me. Dr. Brown, how will I know if a person's pulse has returned or they began breathing while I'm doing hands-only CPR?
If you are pushing 2 inches deep on someone's chest who has regained consciousness, you will know. No one's going to let you push 2 inches deep. So what normally happens is you're going to see some type of signs of life returning, right? You may see some additional movement. You will see some signs of life, and that's how you know when to stop. But the most important step when we think about the chain of survival is dialing 911 because help is on the way. So a lot of times you're going to start doing those chest compressions. If they show some signs of life, you would stop. But if not, you're just going to keep pushing until help gets there. Your hands, in essence, are the heart, right? That's the pump. You're the difference between life and death. So keep pushing hard and fast for as long as you can. If you get tired and someone is nearby, I want you to show them what to do and let them give you a break until you're able to recover again. But you have to keep pushing. You have to keep trying until you see some type of signs of life.
Okay, Dr. Brown, how many times have you done CPR yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say it has only been, let's see, I'm counting mom twice, right? Just 5. Yeah. And I will tell you, you kick into gear. First time I was doing ride time with the Chicago Fire Department, and when they say that statement, they need CPR. I mean, you kick in autopilot. It all comes back to you. I remember one situation, which is why I'm so passionate about going into our multicultural communities, because we went into the house and the person was not responsive and they didn't do CPR. They were laying hands and praying for the person. And to me, that was one of the most hardest scenarios to see, right? Because if they would have, I'd say lay hands, you can lay hands, but could you just do it 2 inches deep and push to the beat of staying alive? that's hard to see, that what we're taught to do is to pray, but we have to teach here, push 2 inches deep, and you can still pray. Just pray to the beat of staying alive. It works, you know?
Okay, the next question is, does eliminating mouth-to-mouth matter in survival?
It matters because people don't want to do mouth to mouth. So when they don't want to do that, they won't do anything. This gives them a skill, a tangible skill. And if you look at the research from the American Heart Association, they're really showing us that it's just as effective if you did traditional CPR or if you did hands-only CPR. When that teenager or an adult suddenly collapses, they've got some minutes of oxygen in their bloodstream already. And so you're pumping, your hands become the pump. So it makes a difference. So if my option was to say, ooh, I don't want to give rescue breaths, nothing happens. Remember I told you death plus death is nothing. But when we equip people with this hands-only CPR, it's saving lives. And let me share one other thing. Many of organizations similar to the ones that are collaborating today work with communities that have diverse literacy and educational levels. And so because of that, we cannot complicate things, right? It has to be very simple steps, because when we add a lot of steps, people just won't do it. So it's very effective. It saves lives.
Okay, and this is actually a two-part question, but I see it's been asked twice. One is, you mentioned CPR for teens and adults for the hands-only CPR, and then it says, how deep and fast should the pump, how fast should pump be for small child, say 10 or under?
So that the age is no longer the indicator. So you have infant CPR, which is going to be your birth to age 1. You have child, which is going to be 1 into puberty. And then from puberty, you treat them like an adult. Now, why is that important for us? Because we got a lot of obesity in our younger children. So I could have a 6-year-old that's 250 pounds. So I'm not going to go 1 1/2 inches. I need to do based on what I see, the size. So for hands-only CPR, it is only recommended for teenagers and adults that suddenly collapse. It is not recommended for infants, children, or drowning victims, okay? They need traditional CPR, right? And in many instances, it's something respiratory that has led to them to go into that heart stopping. So it's 2 different things. I would say, if there's a lot of questions coming in the chat box about the child or the infant, that maybe a part 2 to this would be doing a traditional CPR class to get the provider card, because this is specifically for a target population. And I think we really need to equip our communities with the whole kaleidoscope for those that are able to get this training, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you. So it gives us plans for next year to do our part 2. The other question is,
Bring me back.
Yes, we will, of course. How long do we pump for if we don't see any signs of life? And that question was, I got that question twice so far.
You keep going. You do what you can for as long as you can. And I know that might sound scary, but when you have to do CPR, your adrenaline will start, it'll kick in, right? You're going to get that burst of energy. But what I need you to do is to do what you can for as long as you can, even if you don't see any signs of life. I don't want you to, maybe you watched a fiction television show and they said, ooh, I'm gonna call it, and you pronounce some people in the field. No, I need you to keep pushing until help gets there. And that's super important, right? So if you are in the chat, can a couple people help me? You keep pushing until help arrives. Put that in there. Keep pushing until help arrives. You have to. Don't stop. There are some videos out there that show that there have been rural areas and people have done CPR 45 minutes until help got there. And that person is on the video saying, I sure am glad that they didn't stop pushing 45 minutes. So it all depends on where you're at. Is there an emergency? Can they get to you? You have to keep pushing. Do what you can for as long as you can, because your actions can help save a life. And you don't know what's happening inside. But we do know is that you are the pump and the heart is not doing what it needs to do, but it needs you.
Okay, the next question is CPR appropriate for someone that may be suffering from a seizure and is having issues breathing?
So if they're having a seizure, you would not do CPR, only if they became unresponsive. If they're breathing, let's say it's, if they maybe had an allergic reaction, they went into like an anaphylactic shock and then they lost consciousness, that's different, right? So it depends on the situation. We're dealing with people that are not breathing and not responsive. Even, I'll give you another example. I don't know if it's been asked, but what if they were in an accident or something, right? If their heart is not doing anything, they need CPR. And we have to hear that they need CPR, right? Seizure is going to be different. The seizure is going to happen usually for a period of time, and then they'll go into like that post-ictal phase right afterward. So the thing with the seizure is just to document the time that it started and the time that it ends. But in both cases, you should call 911.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I just want to quickly remind everyone to please complete the evaluation. The link has been dropped in the chat a couple times. We'll drop that again right now. So that we can just understand if we're delivering programs and workshops that you find that you need. So we want to make sure we're meeting the needs of our community. If you have any other questions, please drop them in the chat. And while we're waiting for, I guess, a couple more questions, let me ask you something, Dr. Brown. So you shared your compassion and your passion for the community and your community engagement. I would like to ask, why has this been an important part of your work in teaching CPR nationally?
Because the statistics were so alarming. It would wake me up at night because it hurt my heart to hear these numbers and nobody seemed to be concerned. So at one time I was working at an inner city hospital. And so when the call came in, when they would come into the ER, I could almost predict based on where that person was coming from, if they were going to make it to discharge. And that just felt like something I needed to do something about that, because that was just distressing. So I actually resigned from my position as a senior educator at this hospital and opened up this company and took my own money and did it. Now, here's where the second part of the passion came in. I would go and do these door knocking campaigns, and I'd go into the local businesses, and there were a couple of churches, and I went in there and they would say, well, if something happens, we have a nurse. We have the nurse. Now, sometimes that nurse wasn't a trained nurse. It would be the person, y'all know what I'm talking about. They would be the nurse. And in some instances, those people came back to me maybe a month later, sometimes weeks later, and they would say to me, the nurse passed. So the person that you thought would be there to help save the life actually needed you to learn how to save the life. And so I started doing these marathons where I would open up my company for like a 12-hour period. And then we just get random people off the streets. Just come in, just come in, just come in. That was my passion because I saw that it was making a difference. And then one day, one of my colleagues from the hospital called and she said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? A couple of people who had come in, they made it to discharge, but they asked the family members, how did they know what to do? And they told them because the CPR lady came to our door and taught us. And that is where that passion kicked in, when I realized that this is bigger than me. And it makes me emotional to talk about it, but this is so much more than me. It's that my life is to help save lives. And as I started to call, I was just trying to help Chicago. But then these national organizations says, no, we need you to come. We need you to come. They got CPR instructors there. So you have to be thankful that they're bringing me. No, we're launching. We just got this MOU. We need you to come. And they would just start pulling me and pulling me and pulling me. And then when I would be there on break from something, I'd be in the community telling, where's the homeless shelter? I'll be back. I'm going to, no, I don't want to go to dinner with y'all. I love you, but I want to go help some people. And they saw that that was my passion. It was my purpose. And I do believe that it is part of my why, of why I was created, to share this message of saving lives, because it matters, you all, so much. And I don't want us not to complete our assignments because we didn't get the help that we needed, right? Every single person, I'll say this in close in case you have another question. Every single person in this world has an assignment that we're called to do. And there really is a missing piece in the universe until we complete that assignment. My job is to make sure that you live to complete that assignment. So if I can get this skill to you, I'm going to help you get the help that you need, because your life matters. And so that is where that passion that boils in me comes from. And I mean, I've been in South Africa, Medellin, Colombia, around the world teaching, because it's bigger than me. And it's never been about Catherine. It's about just saving a life, because it's the right thing to do. And that's what I want for the world. And I've been doing it a long time. So I love it. And it's a beautiful thing.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Catherine. You did not disappoint. I mean, thank you so much for sharing. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Catherine over a year ago during a national webinar, and I was just so impacted because there were close to 1,000 of us on that call and on that Zoom, and in the height of COVID. And she found a way to connect with us just as she's doing here. And it was just, I mean, it was just incredible to even know. And there were children, I think about 200 children on that call. And it was just so impactful for us to learn these life-saving steps and to hear about all of the great work that she had done in Chicago, going door to door, teaching people CPR with Sal in hand. And so it was just something that stuck with me. And I said, if she can deliver this in the height of COVID via Zoom to over 1,000 people and maintain our attention, this is something that we have to share. So when we find something good, when you have a good recipe, or you eat at a good restaurant, or you have a great experience, you share it. And this is how we need to share the services that Dr. Brown offers. And it is just because it's life-changing. And she is sending a message and teaching a message to us, Black women, right? Teaching us how to impact our communities on a different level. And I want to thank you for accepting the opportunity to come and share with us. And I'm hoping that there are others on the line that are connected to other organizations that can take Dr. Brown's information and share it. That's what we need to do. This was so easy for us. In less than an hour, we learned how to save a life. You know, and she broke it down and made it really easy for us. And it's something I feel like I can do. And I think that we need to share this. Like she said, we don't want to be the cause of someone else missing their assignment because they needed a service such as CPR that we couldn't provide because we weren't paying attention during her session. So let's share this. And thank you again for this phenomenal presentation. And at this time, I am going to, if you don't have anything else, Dr. Brown, I'll turn it back over to our committee chair, Dr. Saray Eden.
And just thank you all again for the opportunity to be here. I do not take it lightly, and I'm so honored for just the love and the support. And again, just for having me here. I appreciate you. I honor you in the work that you're doing, and just thank you again so much. If there's anything that I can do, you have my information, and I am here to serve.
Well, we just want to thank you again, Dr. Brown. It was a phenomenal presentation. And I think everyone on the call today probably feels empowered that they too can do CPR. And, you know, I understand sometimes people were hesitant to do CPR because of the mouth-to-mouth component, but the hands only is certainly something that we all can do. And we just thank you again for coming to us today. We also thank our partners. AARP is one of our sponsors, as well as American Heart Association. We thank you for that video. We also thank Delta Sigma Theta as our partners, especially Genevieve Fischray, who's the chair of Healthy Lifestyles. We also saw on the call that a lot of the great Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs were in attendance. I saw Grand Rapids, I saw Ohio, I saw even Pittsburgh and Detroit. So we thank you for joining us today. And, you know, one bright spot about this virtual environment that we're in over the last couple of years is that we can reach out to different states, different towns. With you being in Nashville, you didn't have to travel. Although we're looking forward to being able to be in person again. But we thank you again, and we thank all of you who attended today. And I'm sure that you have something that you took away from today. I just wanted to share that my own father was a recipient, if you will, of CPR, and by a stranger in a club, and he survived. And so I know that CPR does have some positive outcomes, at least at times. Thank you again. Thank my sisters from the Greater Lansing Area Club, my committee, as well as my sisters at Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. You all have a great day.